Alright, so we started with this melody. Just found a sample, like a little loop for a guitar. For me, you always need a place to start with feeling inspired, so I thought that this had just like a chill vibe. It's supposed to be an R&B beat, so it just sort of matched. I'm adding a pretty simple hi-hat pattern. Say for hip hop, like often I'll do like eighth notes hi-hats. Then for this, I just sort of made this like kind of this like syncopated. The kick drum just playing in triplets. Nothing like this song for me just had like a chill laid back vibe, so I didn't want it to be too quick. Instead of a snare, I'm using a snap, just playing on the third beat. Already, like most of the beat is done at this point, right? So I just pretty simple for a beginner to replicate. You take get a loop, like I use a service called Splice where they offer loops. Probably find free loop packs online. Add some drums. Okay, then I was gonna add to the instrument layers. I got the foundation of the beat with the drums and the main guitar melody. It's building like a simple chord progression in the key. So you need to know the key of the sample. The key was B major, so I made a chord progression based on B major. I took the root note of each chord and duplicated it to add some like bass. R&B often uses like seventh chords, just like more notes basically in a chord. So for this, I just made it thicker by taking the root note. So it's still just like major and minor chords, but adding that root note gives it more thickness. Then just adding a pretty simple bass line. I'm gonna play the root note of each chord as the chord progresses. So just playing like this, like 3 notes at a time. Exactly like this. Pretty simple. So the root notes of the chord, and if you're not sure how to lay down a bass line, those often work. Alright, then I wanted to add like this extra layer, using this like synth. Kind of this like swelly sound. I don't know how to describe it, but I wanted to kind of have like an A and B section. So I used the synth to kind of create contrast with the chords and bass. Perfect. Had some latency when I was recording, so I'm just gonna tighten up the timing. You could quantize it, but I was like doing my stuff by hand because that hand pulled beat type of vibe. Alright, yeah, so I wanted to keep this beat simple so a beginner could sort of follow the production process. So I'm not gonna add much else. I think just a little extra percussion. I did some arranging, pretty simple like A-B pattern. Added a shaker. There's a synth. At this point it sounds a lot better because I spent some time mixing. So mixing's also really important. But you could save yourself time mixing by doing proper sound selection. So choose sounds that cut through the mix already, so they already sound good when you play them. So you can hear how the chord progression and bass line just kind of work together when they're sharing notes like that. For the shaker, I found like an EDM shaker loop sample, but it was like super fast. The BPM here is 143, but it's probably in double time because it just has like such a laid back vibe to it. So I stretched the shaker loop so that it was playing at half the BPM it originally was. So it just gives it a more kind of chill, like, so it's that sound. You can hear the layer. Yeah, so pretty simple besides that. Besides that, it was a lot of mixing. And I found a nice bass line I wanted to add in right here. It's almost like a solo if there was a bassist playing this. Alright, so a little insight to the mixing process. At the beginning I used this like filter suite with a plugin called Shaper Box. You could probably automate this with like stock plugins using like an EQ. So basically it's just kind of slowly changing the frequencies that are in the guitar sample. And that just worked for the intro. You always want things to be changing to keep music interesting. So I added this little extra, almost kind of functioning like an open hat would. Very subtle too. It plays well with the shaker loop and just adds like a little, again, like I said, keeping things like different. Then I want to spice up the bass line a little bit with a single note. Right there. Just one note. Still like accessible to a beginner, I'd say, just like kind of, I felt like it was really boring just having just the root notes playing the whole time.